Okay, now we're going to be looking at finale. This is one of the most challenging pieces in the book. It's called finale, which would make you think it's going to be at the end of the book. It's not at the end of the book, it's on page 18, okay? But everyone finds it a challenge. Once you've got past finale, it's plain sailing from there, okay? So really try hard to try and get this sorted out, okay? I'm going to explain each line to you, and then I'm going to play it through, okay? Line 1 is fairly easy, okay? It's a groove you should already know. It goes bass and snare, bass, bass and snare, and if you notice, you've got the repetition marks, which means you're going to play the bar 3 times, and then you're going to do a fill, which is coffee, 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 going around the drums. Fairly straightforward. So here's line 1, 3, 4. If you want to try playing along with me, you can rewind and play along and try and get the first line sorted. Play it 4 times and then you know you've got it. The second line, it's a bit like the exercises we were doing before. It goes crash, rest, rest, high tom, crash, rest, rest, snare drum, and then you've got bass and snare, bass, bass and snare, and bass and snare, and coffee, coffee. It's a little fill. Let's just try saying that line together. 3, 4. Crash, rest, rest, high tom, crash, rest, rest, snare drum, bass and snare, bass, bass and snare, and bass and snare, and coffee, coffee. Here it is, I'm going to play it to you, okay? And you can try and play along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and play that one 4 times in a row when you're practicing, okay? I'm going to be going through quite fast because it's a video, but remember you can pause at any time, have a practice, and then continue with the next bit, okay? Line 3 is by far the most challenging bit, okay? So I'm going to show you an exercise to help you with that. And we're going to do 4 T's going around the drums, and then 4 coffees going around the drums, okay? But when we do the T, we're going to do a bass drum with the T, okay? And when we do a coffee, we're going to do 1 bass drum with the coffee, okay? You'll see what I mean in a minute. Not too bad because it's 1 bass drum with 1 hand. Coffee's a bit more tricky, look. So the bass drum is at the same time as my right hand. Unless you're left-handed, then it'll be with your left hand, okay? So it's on the ka of coffee. So put those 2 together. Let's try and play that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you've been really observant and you're looking at the book on page 18, you'll notice that on line 3, there isn't a note on the hands on the first beat of bars 3 and bars 4, okay? So instead of going T, 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 coffee, 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 we're gonna take out the snare drum but still do the bass. Because if you notice, there's a little wiggle, which is a crotchet rest. So we don't play the snare drum. I've only told you to play the snare drum to help you learn it. Now we're going to take it out. It goes like this. So bass, T, 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 bass, coffee, coffee, coffee. Let's try and play it together now, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget the bass drum where the snare would have been. Now if we look at the whole of line 3, it goes like this. if you want to try playing along with that, you can rewind it and give it a go at the same time. This one needs to be practiced a lot, at least 8 times in a row, no mistakes, before you should move on, because it's the hardest bit. Okay? Last line is a little bit easier, but we're doing a crash on beat 1. So it's bass and snare, bass and snare, which is a groove you already know, but on that first bass you've got to do a crash. So watch carefully, it's going to go crash and snare, bass and snare, and watch this bit. Crash and snare, and again. Okay, now we're going to try and say the whole line together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Crash and snare, bass and snare, and bass and snare, and coffee, tea, bass and snare, and bass, snare, and crash at the end. Once you've said it a few times, we'll play it together, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once you've practiced all the lines, maybe 8 times each, no mistakes, then you can try and put it together. Then try and play it without the music 4 times, and then try and play it with the music. It'll be in another video, the performance, okay, where you can play along with me without the music and with the music, okay?